Imagine waking up abroad as a British expat, sipping your morning coffee while scrolling through the latest UK news, only to stumble upon a headline that stops you cold. UK pension rights now come with a £1,000 fee for Britons abroad. At first, you might assume it's clickbait, maybe a misunderstanding or a rumor circulating in the usual online forums. But as you dig deeper, it becomes clear that something has changed, and thousands of British citizens living overseas are suddenly wondering what this means for their retirement plans, their savings, and their ability to stay financially connected to the country they once called home. Today, we're breaking down exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and what it means for anyone living outside the UK but relying on UK pension rights. And trust me, this is one story every expat or soon-to-be expat needs to hear, because it could directly impact your future finances in a pretty significant way. So let's set the stage. For decades, British citizens have moved abroad for work, family, lifestyle, or simply to chase a little more sunshine than the UK tends to offer. And even while settling down somewhere else, Spain, the US, Australia, the UAE, France, wherever millions have maintained their ties to the UK pension system. In the past, whether you were contributing to the state pension voluntarily or managing workplace pension funds from overseas, the process was fairly straightforward, apart from the usual government paperwork that we all love so much. But recently, a new development has surfaced that's raising eyebrows and stirring up frustration across expat communities. A newly introduced £1,000 fee tied to securing certain pension rights or transfers for British citizens living outside the UK. Now, right away, a lot of people want to know, why £1,000? Why now? And is this really a necessary part of the system, or just another bureaucratic hurdle that feels more like a penalty for choosing to live your life in another part of the world? The first thing to understand is that pension systems are constantly under review, especially as governments try to manage long-term financial sustainability. The UK, like many other countries, faces an aging population, increasing pension obligations, and ongoing political pressure to ensure the system remains solvent. Add to that the rising number of people moving abroad while still tied to the UK pension scheme, and you can start to see why officials might want to tighten the rules or introduce new administrative processes. But a £1,000 charge is a big jump from the typical processing fees that expats might have been used to in the past, and that's why this particular development has triggered such a strong reaction. For a lot of Britons living abroad, especially retirees or middle-income workers who rely on every penny of their savings, an unexpected £1,000 cost can hit hard. And it's not just the amount, it's what it represents. Many feel this fee adds an extra barrier to something they already earned through years, sometimes decades, of paying UK taxes and national insurance contributions. It's not a luxury service. It's not an optional add-on. It's a right that people assumed was secure and accessible regardless of where they live. But now, with this new fee structure, it feels like yet another reminder that choosing to live abroad can come with hidden financial strings attached to the UK. As expat communities started reacting, online forums lit up with questions. Social media groups for British expats filled with posts asking whether the fee was mandatory, whether it applied to everyone, and what specific pension actions triggered the charge. Some wondered if they should rush to secure their rights before the fee becomes fully enforced. Others speculated that this was just the beginning, predicting more costs in the future for overseas pension holders. And while not every rumor floating around the internet is accurate, what's clear is that there's confusion, concern, and a general sense that many people feel caught off guard. Now let's talk about how this affects different groups. Imagine a 45-year-old British professional who moved to Canada a few years ago and still contributes to their UK state pension voluntarily so they can qualify for the full pension later in life. For someone in their position, an additional £1,000 fee might feel like a sudden financial roadblock, especially if they need to make adjustments or formalize certain rights. Or picture a retiree living in Spain, already on a fixed income, managing their finances carefully. A fee like this could mean reshuffling budgets or dipping into savings just to maintain a pension entitlement they already earned through years of contributions. Even younger expats, people in their 20s and 30s, could be affected if they're trying to plan long-term and make sure their future pension isn't at risk. What makes the reaction even stronger is that many feel this fee sends a broader message that living abroad makes you a lower priority participant in the UK pension system. Whether or not that's the government's intention, perception matters, especially among people who still feel deeply connected to their home country. And when it comes to pensions, trust is everything. If people feel the system is shifting beneath their feet, they naturally start to question what else might be coming. But let's be fair for a moment. Governments don't usually implement significant changes without some form of justification, and while critics might see the fee as unnecessary, officials may frame it as a way to cover administrative costs or ensure that overseas pension transfers or rights claims are processed properly. There's also the perspective that offering pension rights to citizens across the world involves complex international agreements, compliance regulations, and financial safeguards. Still, the £1,000 figure is enough to raise eyebrows, because even if administration costs have risen, many people struggle to understand why the price tag needs to be quite so high. Whether you agree with the policy or not, one thing is certain: this has sparked a wake-up call for British citizens living abroad. It's a reminder that rules can change, fees can appear with little warning, and relying entirely on assumptions about long-established rights can lead to surprises down the road. That's why financial advisors are already urging expats to stay informed, check their pension status regularly, and seek professional guidance if they plan to make any changes or transfers. Even if the fee doesn't apply to every scenario, understanding when it does matter is crucial. And while all of this might feel frustrating, it's important to take a balanced approach. Rather than panicking or assuming the worst, expats should use this moment to review their long-term retirement plans. Are you fully aware of your entitlement status? Do you know how voluntary contributions work from your current country of residence? Have you checked whether your country has a reciprocal social security agreement with the UK? So what can you do if you're abroad and worried about this new fee? The first step is to determine whether it actually applies to your situation. Not every pension action triggers the charge. Some processes remain free or carry standard fees. The key is to get accurate information rather than relying solely on rumors or secondhand posts. If you're unsure, consider contacting a UK pension advisor or checking official government channels for updates. Because even though the fee itself is unwelcome news, anything that encourages people to take control of their financial future and understand their rights more clearly is a step in the right direction. If you're living abroad, thinking of moving overseas, or simply curious about how UK pensions work across borders, this is something you should keep an eye on. Changes like this tend to ripple outward, influencing future policies and shaping how governments interact with their citizens worldwide. And as always, staying informed is your best defense against unexpected costs or surprises.